So here's the deal at AEW Double or Nothing 2020. It is taking place live on pay-per-view. AEW has announced a 9-man ladder match, and the rules to this ladder match are a lot different from what we've seen in WWE, and I actually really commend AEW here for doing something different. But basically, the way that it's going to work is there's going to be 9 men fighting in a ladder match, and somebody will climb the ladder to grab a poker chip. This poker chip is the #1 contendership for the AEW World title. Now, in this match, the first 2 opponents or the first 2 wrestlers will start off the match, and every 90 seconds, another wrestler will enter the ring. Now, technically, if you're the first 2 in the ring, you may not even see the rest of the roster or the rest of the wrestlers join in this match if you climb the ladder. So technically, not everybody has to be entered in this match to win the match. So I find that to be very intriguing. And I find this to be a very interesting scenario because AEW is advertising 9 people in this match, but only 8 of them have actually been confirmed. And that is because today AEW announced that there would be a mystery partner. Now, as you guys could tell, a mystery participant that is soon to be revealed at Double or Nothing creates for some very intriguing stuff because AEW is all about having the crowd and the fans guess. They love when the crowd is engaged. They love when the fans are guessing and theorizing different scenarios. So AEW has a very special circumstance that they're willing to make popular with the internet based on this decision. So that makes me very intrigued to see what actually happens here because what is being reported for the special debut and what I believe is going to happen are 2 different things. And I'm very intrigued to see which one happens. Now, technically, this is a report. So if you guys don't like spoilers, if you guys don't want to hear about a special debut happening at Double or Nothing, both of these names have been discussed. So you guys may not want to watch the video in its entirety if you guys don't want to be spoiled. But I'm just letting you know it is a possibility. It's no guarantee. It's a huge rumor. Again, who I believe is in the match is not who is rumored to be in the match. The person that's rumored to be in the match is actually far bigger and more exciting than I could even imagine. So I'll get into that in just a second, but make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you guys want to stay connected for pro wrestling stuff, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, all that good stuff. DPW is your stop. It is your destination. So make sure you guys show some love. But with that being said, the person who is rumored, we're going to get to him in just a second. And trust me, that name might shock you. But today, I believe Drew Gulak is in the match. And I know it's crazy. I'm going to kind of fantasy book this a little bit. But the idea of Drew Gulak being in this match, I think, makes all the sense in the world. I think when you look at this match and you look at who's in this match, I think Darby Allin is probably the most reasonable person, or he's the most exciting name that should be in this match. So I think the idea of Darby Allin winning this match is very important. I think we're going to see some incredible spots from Darby Allin. The idea that he can get through 8 other guys to get this opportunity, I think, is incredible. So I think if you're going to have somebody debut here, you have Drew Gulak do that. And I said this before, bringing Drew Gulak to AEW doesn't have to be a permanent fixture. It could be something temporary to give him work during this pandemic. But most importantly, the idea of Drew Gulak having some comedy moments with somebody like Orange Cassidy, could be really cool. Now, again, Drew Gulak is not what's being reported. It's what I believe will happen. But also, at the same time, too, if you're going to have Drew Gulak in this match and he's not going to win this match, it's okay because you have 8 other wrestlers in the ring. There's a way to make it make sense. It's not a situation where AEW is pressured to give him this push right out of the box. And that right there actually may be a big reason why a lot of you will disagree, because a lot of people seem to think that AEW is in a situation where they cannot afford to have somebody from WWE debut into the company without getting the big push. And I could understand that ideology. But now you guys are probably wondering who is actually rumored to make their AEW debut. And this is so interesting because a year ago, I made a video discussing this, and I made a video talking about this individual and why he would be such a great asset to AEW. And it's really shocking, but I can see this individual being placed in this match simply for the fact that he is going to be shot straight to the top of the card, and this is AEW's way of getting him there. and that is, in fact, Brian Cage. Now, if you guys didn't know, Brian Cage was originally supposed to go to AEW sometime last year, several months ago. He was supposed to debut for AEW. There was this whole situation where he got injured at Impact Wrestling. Impact wrote him off for TV. His contract expired, and he chose not to re-sign because the rumor was that he was going to AEW. And because of the injury, he was not able to go to AEW. Now, I'm a huge fan of Brian Cage. I think everybody knows that Brian Cage would be a huge asset in AEW. And I mentioned this about a year ago, that Brian Cage would bring the size aspect to AEW. And yes, there's Wardlow, and a lot of people compare both of them to each other. But when you look at AEW's roster, you still need some big guys. And having Brody Lee there is incredible. Having, Chris Jericho is incredible, but Chris Jericho is just not... He's not like a true heavyweight. You need the body guy. You need the body type that Vince McMahon loves. And you got to bring a little bit of that to AEW. And I think a lot of people agree with that. So at the end of the day, Brian Cage brings a very mysterious look. He's a great wrestler, a great athlete. He's not unknown to the massive audience. A lot of people know about his work in AAA / Lucha Underground. A lot of people know about his stuff in Impact Wrestling and then All In. But of course, now people want to see him in AEW. He is being reported as the 9th member of this match. And at that point, I just cannot see this being a situation where he loses. So if Brian Cage were to be in this match, I think Brian Cage gets the win. I think AEW is going to have to tell some very interesting stories. And I think the idea of Brian Cage becoming the Brock Lesnar for AEW, I think that could be a very, very intriguing thing to its company. I think AEW needs to focus on that. I think they need to have a Brock Lesnar type of guy. I don't think you can get that from a Sting or a Cain Velasquez. I think you need to get that from somebody who can move very fast, somebody who's very powerful, somebody with a good look, and somebody who's been a world champion before. And Brian Cage has done that. And thankfully, Brian Cage, even though he is a veteran, he is still not massively popular with the mainstream audience. So that is exactly what I love about AEW bringing him in. And quite honestly, if you are AEW and you do bring him in, you have an opportunity to shock the world. Darby Allin's going to have some cool spots. Orange Cassidy's going to have some cool spots. The minute that Brian Cage has a big moment in that match, this is going to be one of those matches that I would say is match of the night. I mean, look at who's in this match. So the mystery opponent here is very, very intriguing because I think a lot of the cool stuff that I'm mentioning about Brian Cage, as much as I love it, I don't like the idea of somebody debuting and literally just getting sent straight to the top. I would love to see somebody work their way up. That's just kind of the way I like wrestling personally. But nonetheless, that's why I very much predict the Drew Gulak thing. And I can see how it works out. It works out perfectly. More than likely, the Drew Gulak thing is just, it's just a fantasy booking that I'm coming up with, and there's nothing more to it. But I'm excited. I'm really excited, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I think Double or Nothing is going to be an incredible pay-per-view. I know I'm ready to talk about this pay-per-view, and I'm ready to cover this pay-per-view. And it sucks because I can't be in Vegas for this pay-per-view due to the pandemic. But nonetheless, guys, we're all healthy. We're all, safe. And that's pretty much all that's really important. So I'll be doing something with Double or Nothing. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. I would like to do a live stream during the pay-per-view, especially for moments like this. If Brian Cage were to debut, I want to bring you guys like my genuine reaction, and I want to enjoy the show with you guys, because I can't go to Vegas this time. So Vegas is shut down, Michigan is shut down, all the states are shut down, and we got a little bit of pro wrestling. It's going to be without a crowd. I don't mind it without a crowd. I think AEW is going to pull this off in a really great way, and I think Brian Cage is the right guy to debut. I think Drew Gulak is the right way to debut. Both people could do it. Both guys can make this special for their own reasons. I prefer to go a little bit more towards the Drew Gulak way. I don't want AEW to just force Brian Cage down our throats. I want them to start telling the story of who he is, and I think they can do that. But nonetheless, if both things were to happen, I'm cool with either or. Obviously, I have a preference. So with that being said, guys, my name is Ango. This is Destination Pro Wrestling. More news, rumors, coverage, all that good stuff. Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Impact. I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below.